Hi everybody and welcome back to eREELs. On today's video we're going to be talking about how to operate the digital tachograph. Now it's absolutely imperative that all operators and drivers understand how to use the technology of the digital tachograph to make sure they stay legal and compliant. Now there's loads of videos out there on YouTube about how to operate a digitacho, but today I'm going to be using a simulator rather than the real thing. The purpose for me using a simulator today is twofold. One, well, it's just the same as a normal one. And two, I'm going to put the link in the description down below for you to download this very simulator to use yourself. So it's good to see how it's used. Okay, let's take a look. Once you launch the application, you have a few options to choose from. First off, click the Start button to begin. Then you get the choice as to whether you want to simulate a bus tacho or a lorry tacho. In all honesty, they're both the same, but as this is a simulation, it's best to choose the vehicle that's most applicable to your industry. In this case, I'm going to choose a lorry. Now we have three options: company mode, operational mode, and control mode. This represents which role you're playing in terms of managing the digital tachograph. To start off with, we're going to use operational mode, as we're going to look at things from the driver's point of view first. We now get the option of three different tacho head units to practice on. Whilst every tachograph head unit is very similar, there are very small differences in terms of the layout and the display, etc. Therefore, you can get a feel for different tacho units here. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to be using the Siemens VDO unit, which is the most widely used tachograph unit in the UK. Finally, we have two options, the first being a guided sequence, and secondly, the interactive simulator, and it's this option that we're going to be looking at today. And this is what the simulator looks like. In the top left, you can see our vehicle. Below that, some basic vehicle controls. We have a speedometer, a time multiplier, and most importantly down at the bottom, our tachograph head unit. On the right hand side, you'll see an empty box. This will be showing each action that we perform as we do it and explain to us what's happening. And the box in the bottom right gives us hints and suggestions as to what we might want to do next in terms of operating the tacho. So first things first, we're going to insert our tacho card into the head unit, and we can't do that on this tacho without switching the vehicle on. So we turn the key. And as you can see, the vehicle unit display is now illuminated and is asking me to insert a card. Remember, the vehicle will still operate without a card being inserted. So if we now press the accelerator and drive off, you can see that the tachograph is telling us that the vehicle is being driven without a card, and in turn, that message is being recorded on the vehicle unit's memory. Let's bring the vehicle to a stop and do it properly. To insert a driver card, click on the slot and select driver 1. Your card should be photo down, chip up, and the card should go in with the chip furthermost away from you. Inserted any other way, the vehicle unit will not recognise the card and it will be ejected. The vehicle unit will then display the time that you inserted the card, your name, and the date and time that you last ejected your card. It will then ask if you wish to do a manual entry. The reason for creating a manual record is that it's highly unlikely that your shift starts as soon as you insert the card, and it's unlikely that it finishes once your card is ejected. So you as the driver need to account for what happens in between those times. When asked if you want to create a manual entry, use the buttons on the right. Hit OK to select yes. It will now ask if your previous shift ended when you took your card out. In this case, no it didn't, because I did paperwork and handed keys in after I took my card out, which took 10 minutes. So I select no. I then have to wind the clock forward by 10 minutes to show the exact time that my shift ended. It will then ask you to select which mode you want to record for this period. Well, if I were doing paperwork, then it would need to be recorded as other work. It will then ask you to confirm if this is the new time that you needed your shift to end, which I will select yes. Now the vehicle unit asks what country you ended your shift in. As this is a Spanish simulator, it defaults to Spain, but a UK tacho will default to UK. Press up until you find UK and press OK. It will now ask exactly when your shift is beginning. First the date and then the time. Well, in this case I started my shift 10 minutes earlier because I needed to collect keys and fill in my paperwork. So I click down to take the time to exactly when my shift started, and again select the country that you're in. When the time appears again, press up until you get back to the time you inserted your card. It won't let you go any further. It will now ask what you were doing between the time your shift started and the time you put your card in. In this case it was other work, so I select that. Confirm the manual entry by clicking yes. You now have a full complete record of your time. Now let's take a look at how to operate the tachograph during our day. So, once you've inputted your manual entry, you'll see that your tachograph defaults to other work. In order to change the mode, you press the 1 for driver 1 and 2 for driver 2 if needed. You can then select either brake or period of availability. You do not get the option to select drive, as this will automatically be selected once the vehicle moves, as you can see here. You can make the vehicle move on this simulator by pressing the accelerator. The more you click on it, the faster your vehicle will go, and you can assess the speed on the speedometer. This simulator is set to kilometers per hour, so our maximum speed should be around 90 kilometers per hour, which equates to about 56 miles per hour. Once you accelerate, you can push time forward by using the time multiplier, and you can bring the vehicle to a stop by using the brake. So, as we're driving, how can we figure out how long we've been driving for and when do we need to take a break? Well, it's as simple as pressing the down arrow on your tachograph. This shows you exactly how much driving time you've accumulated. The display will automatically return to the main screen after a few seconds. Let's push time on a little and get a bit closer to our 4.5 hour driving limit. Once you accumulate 4 hours and 15 minutes of driving, your vehicle unit will display a warning, telling you that the brake is imminently required. If you want to stop this warning from being displayed, then you just press OK. Be aware that by pressing OK, you're acknowledging that you've seen the warning. So of course, at this point we need to stop and change our mode to brake. We need at least a minimum of 15 minutes brake for it to register on our tachograph. Once we do, you can now see by pressing down on the VU how much brake we've accumulated. What we'll do here is push time on so that we take a full 45-minute break. Now you can see by the bars at the top that we've taken the correct amount of brake, and when we pull away again to continue our shift, the driving time clock resets. This is because by taking the correct brake, we can now drive for a further 4.5 hours before needing to stop again. So that's how you perform the basics of checking your drive and brake time and recording the necessary brakes. But what else can your tachograph do? Well, the VU has a menu that you can call up when the vehicle is stationary, and you can do this by pressing OK. You can then scroll through the various options. First of all, it's from here that you can do a printout, either for the driver's card or for the vehicle. If we wanted to do a printout for your card activities, you just need to press OK. Then you select whether you want to print out for the last 24 hours or just for any events that have happened. In this case, we'll select 24 hours. Then you select which day you wish to do the printout for, and then your printout will appear from the slot in the right-hand corner. On that printout, it documents everything that has happened since the card was inserted into the vehicle. going back on the menu, if you scroll a little further, you'll see the heading Entry. If you select Vehicle, you can here perform a number of different functions. You can set the tachograph to out of scope if you're driving the vehicle with no requirement for a tacho. You can set your tacho to ferry or train mode if you're using one of those modes of transport. This is done in order to make use of the various driver's hours permutations. Within this part of the menu, you can also amend the local time and UTC. So let's assume our shift is ending and we've stopped for the day. Once the vehicle has stopped, we can eject the card. You do this by pressing the eject button. It will then display your name again and ask you which country you're in. Once you confirm this, it will ask if you would like to do a 24-hour printout. It's not a legal requirement to do a printout unless you are asked to do so by the DVSA or a police officer. However, you may decide to take a printout for your own records. Once the printout is complete, your card will then be ejected from the VU. Let's just skip back to the start where we selected which type of operation we wanted to conduct. And this time we're going to select Company Mode, because I just want to demonstrate the functions that are available when using a company card as opposed to using a driver card. You insert the card in the exact same way, except now the card that we will insert is a company card. The first difference you'll see is that it says Company Locked Out. What this means is that the company card has the ability to lock in and lock out the data, which is essentially meaning that you can keep any activities recorded on the VU personal to your company. If another company hires this vehicle, for instance, they will then not be able to view your record. The second major function of the company card is that it's used as a key to be able to download the information from the VU. If you have a company card inserted, you can now connect a USB device to the VU itself in the appropriate slot. And when you do this, the data will be transferred from the VU to the device, which can then be uploaded to a computer and assessed by your tacho analysis software. Let me show you what happens if you try to drive with a company card inserted. The VU does not register that a driver card is inserted and therefore displays the driving without card message. The card will not record activity in the same way that the driver card will. Right, well, thank you very much for watching again. I hope you found it educational and informative. If you have, then as always, please do hit the like button, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell. I did say at the very start I will put the link in the description down below, which I will do for you, and you can download that very tachograph simulator for free. Now, if you are a driver, if you're new to driving for instance, then please, it's such a great tool for you to use before you go out on the road to keep you compliant. Maybe you're an existing driver that just needs a little bit of extra practice. Or maybe you're a transport manager who would like to show this to their drivers or get them to practice on it a little to maybe iron out some infringements. Whatever the use, I hope you do find it useful. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next one.